Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you're joining us from. Please forgive my voice. I cutting out a little bit this morning, but my name is Rosalie Olmstead. I am WESA's Strategic Partner Coordinator, and it's a pleasure to have you all here today with WESA's strategic partner, Ford Motor Company. But before we get started and I pass it over to Alarmo, I would like to give you a brief overview of the WESA's organization. We often go by our acronym, WESIS, because that is exactly what we are, a global cyber sisterhood. WESIS is a 501c3 nonprofit organization with a mission to recruit, retain, and advance women in cybersecurity. Our community is made up of over 10,000 members in 103 different countries. We have 72 professional affiliates and 314 student chapters around the world. We provide diverse initiatives and skills development programs for all individuals at all levels of their career, such as our book club, leadership series, the vulnerability disclosure program, Create Your Leading Edge, our mentorship program, and so much more. Additionally, all of our job openings from all of our strategic partners are available on the Job Board Plus Plus. We owe all of our wonderful initiatives and programs to all of our strategic partners who fund us year-round. Our Tier 1 partners being 3M, Akamai, Amazon, Bloomberg, Cisco, Ford Motor Company, Google, Lockheed Martin, Optum, Sandia National Laboratories, SANS Institute, and SentinelOne. Please feel free to ask questions throughout the entire webinar. You can drop all of your questions in the question box below. Time permitting, Alarmo will be able to answer them at the end of the webinar. If we run out of time, please feel free to connect with them on LinkedIn to continue the conversation. And lastly, if you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to the WESA's newsletter. You can find it in the upper right-hand corner of wesas.org. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Alarmo with Ford Motor Company.
Hey, thank you, Rosalie, for the introduction. Hey, I'm Alarmo. So I am working with Ford as a delivery manager, handling the contact center space, and I belong to the skill group. So today in this webinar, I'm going to talk about the cybersecurity in the contact center as a service, CCaaS. So the brief agenda that we're going to see today or the introduction to CCaaS. So we will begin with an introduction to CCaaS, discussing its definition, key benefits, and recent adoption trends. Next, we will get into the cybersecurity challenges posed by the CCaaS, including common threats and compliance issues. We will then explore the best practices and advanced technologies for enhancing the security, followed by the security measures and the future trends. Okay, now getting into the introduction to CCaaS. So CCaaS is nothing but contact center as a service. I think many of you must be aware of call center, but contact center is something kind of a niche domain, I would say. The key difference between so I want to just give a little background of what a call center and contact center looks like, and then I'll get into the CCaaS, what it means. Right, so call center is nothing but a call center primarily focuses on handling the inbound and outbound phone calls. It's the traditional call centers that are limited to voice interactions only, right? So we must be very familiar about call center. Whereas when it comes to contact center, is nothing but an extension to the call center. So a contact center is a more comprehensive customer service solution that goes beyond the voice calls. Not just in addition to the phone calls, the customer care will also be able to support wide range of communication channels that includes email, chat, social media, SMS, and more, right? So the contact centers are basically designed to provide a seamless omnichannel experience, allowing the customers to interact with the business through the preferred channels. So this is the key differentiator for a contact center. And now getting into the CCaaS. CCaaS is nothing but contact center as a service, which is nothing but a cloud-based customer experience solution that provides the capabilities required to route the inbound customer interactions to call center agents, right? So the cloud contact center solution let the business only but necessary the technologies and reduces the in-house IT that is running behind the CCaaS, right? So the CCaaS platforms excels in managing the various communication channels such as calls, messaging apps, bots, social media, emails, and it provides a seamless customer experience across multiple channels, thereby providing an omni-channel experience. So the omni-channel experience is a key factor that I would say which is driving the contact center as a service. Now, getting into the key benefits and features, like what are the benefits and features can one get out of contact center as a service, right? So, typically it starts with more agility. So, it's nothing but the agility of cloud contact center platform is it helps to quickly adapt the changing business needs and the market demands, enabling the business to swiftly respond to customer demands and the interactions, right? So, it also helps in the enhanced contact center performance. The CCaaS solution mainly it captures and analyzes the agent interactions, generating valuable contact center analytics and insights in real time. So some of the key metrics that we normally use for a contact for measuring the contact center performances are nothing but the AHT, which is average handling time. So it is nothing but the time that an agent takes to fulfill a customer call, right? So that is defined as an average handling time. Your call deflection, how you are able to deflect a voice call to any digital channel for a seamless experience. The first call resolution FCR, which is nothing but how many calls are getting serviced in the first call itself, right? So that would help the customers and avoid repeated calls. And then the abandon rate, the CSAT and NPS are some of the metrics that we normally used to track to measure the contact center performance. When it comes to improved customer journey, the CCaaS helps in providing the improved customer journey by offering an intensive self-service as much possible, and it helps in addressing the customer query in the first call itself by eliminating the pain points for the repeat of calls. And even if you want to handle any type of query, the CCaaS routing mechanism will help you to avoid multiple agent transfers. So when you get routed to agent, you get your queries answered in the first place itself, right? And another benefit through the CCaaS is nothing but the improved customer satisfaction. So by having improved customer journey through seamless omni-channel experience and self-service experience, the customer satisfaction is also improved. Exceptional customer service. Again, the CCaaS solution delivers exceptional customer service through AI technologies and by giving intuitive desktop views, which is nothing but a unified workspace and turn-by-turn guidance, ensuring efficiency and high-quality customer interactions throughout the customer journey. Right. So, see, these are some of the key benefits that would help a CCaaS getting adopted across various industries. Okay, now why CCaaS is transforming contact centers? So CCaaS is nothing but a cloud solution we saw, right? So CCaaS is revolutionizing the way the business operates their contact centers. How, right? So enabling cost-effective operations with the cloud solutions. So like any cloud solution, CCaaS also helps in eliminating the need for expensive on-premise infrastructure. You can reduce the operational cost and increase the efficiency. There is no upfront cost needed, and your operational cost is drastically getting reduced by getting into the cloud solution, right? And it also supports the remote agents with a scalable infrastructure. The agents need not be physically located in the contact centers as such. You can have your agents deployed across globe wherever they are, and they can still support your contact centers, right? So the CCaaS helps in providing you a scalable infrastructure. So whenever you have more call volume that are coming in, so you can definitely increase your agent volume as well to handle the customer calls. You can scale up and down your resources the way you want depending on the business needs, and that in that way the cloud-based tools will help you maintain the productivity from anywhere and everywhere. So the top features of CCaaS platforms are nothing but the seamless CRM integration it offers, right? So CCaaS, any CCaaS product that you go with, there are multiple CCaaS platforms available in the market like Genesis Cloud, you have NiceCX1, you have Amazon Connect, and there are a lot more, right? So what what brings the top features for CCaaS platforms is nothing but its ability to seamlessly integrate with the organization's own CRM solution, right? So some of the top CRM solutions that we have today in the market are SAP, Salesforce, Microsoft Dynamics, we have Zendesk, Pega, and lot more, right? So the CCaaS platform has the capability to seamlessly integrate your CCaaS platform with the organization CRM. So that way you don't have to switch away from your existing CRM. It can seamlessly integrate with your existing systems and get access to customer data and streamline the workflows for enhanced customer experience, right? So this is one of the top feature for any CCaaS platform. And likewise, we also have the real-time analytics and dashboards for generating actionable insights. Say, for example, as a contact center, if you want to know what are my top call drivers for which the callers are calling in, right? And where is the pain point really coming in? Why are what is the top self-service that the customers are calling in? How can I improve the customer experience? So likewise, whatever business drivers that you want to derive out of it, the real-time analytics dashboard is going to help you get through it, and it will also help in the business decision making as well through intuitive dashboards and reports, right? So the CRM integration and the real-time analytics plays a vital role when it comes to the top features for the CCaaS platform. Okay, now getting into the adoption trends in various industries. So the contact center is the backbone for any industry that you have in the market today. Be it like if you take a telecom industry or a healthcare or a financial, automobile, retail, travel, hospitality, any industry that you take in the market, every sector will have the contact center in their backbone. Without contact center, the operations, the business operations is not going to be performed at all, right? So your CCAS is really generating a lot of rapid growth across multiple industries, and it definitely helps in enhancing the customer centered capabilities as well. How like for example, if you take healthcare, so the utilizing CCAS for secure communication to meet the HIPAA standards is it's nothing but one of the compliance requirements we have for healthcare specifically, to provide a timely support and to help the customers or the users in the appointment management or in the communication with the healthcare providers. Whatever the users are looking for in the healthcare industry, it can be very well offered through the CCaaS solution by effective self-service, right? And if you take a financial service, like be it any banking sector that you go with, so you have to be responsible for giving a secure transactions to the callers. The solution that you are offering has to be fraud preventive, and you need to give a proper customer service and improve the compliance with regulations as well, right? So to meet all these criteria, CCaaS is one bundle of solution that is helping in the financial sector as well. When you take an automobile industry, that is another booming industry that I would say, where the customers are really looking for increased demand in self-service. For example, I'm owning a car, I get stuck in a main road, and I want to call for a immediate automobile service to help me in fixing the issue. So you just need to dial into the contact center toll-free number and call for on-road assistance, right? So you will get the assistance in a fraction of a second through the self-service, and the particular the service provider is going to be at your spot in a very fraction of seconds by utilizing the self-service options, right? And similarly for the retail and e-commerce market as well, you are placing a lot of online purchases through the retail industry. If at all you want to talk to an agent to talk about any problem that you have placed with your recent order, or if you want to exchange or whatever, if you want to talk to an agent, definitely the contact center is the key domain through which you are going to get your services fulfilled, right? So any industry that you have in the market, the growth of CCaaS is really massive, and whatever AI technologies that you have in the industry today, it is all getting adopted through the latest trends and technologies to provide the customers with the high-end experience. Okay, now getting into the key topic, what are the typical cybersecurity challenges in CCaaS, right? Like any contact center, like any cloud solution you have in the market, cybersecurity is always a threat, right? So what is really causing threat is what we are going to see in this section. So some of the common threats we see in the CCaaS are nothing but the data breaches or the insider threats. You have the phishing attacks, you have the ransomware, DDoS attacks, malware, and fraudulent calling, right? So these are all the common cyber threats in contact center as a service, where you see a potential way for data breaches, right? So data breach is nothing but you are exposing the confidential data, the PII or the SPI data into the public. The sensitive data is getting exposed, which is really causing a threat, right? So we are going to see what are all the various threats we have, which is causing the cyber security being vulnerable to the public, right? So data breach in CCaaS, like any cloud environment, it can occur due to various factors. It could be due to human error or malicious attacks or the system vulnerabilities. So some of the possible data breaches are could be through the insider threats. Insider threats is one of the cybersecurity risk that basically originates within an organization. It could be through the employees, contractors, or the business partners. These individuals, they basically have the legitimate access to your network systems, and they can misuse data intentionally or unintentionally, right? So why insider threats is a problem in CCaaS? Let us get into a deep dive into this particular risk for the next few seconds. So, like I said, the CCaaS is rapidly using a lot of sensitive customer data, right? So, since when it comes to sensitive data, CCaaS platform handles a large volume of sensitive data, including PA and SPI. It could be PA data that includes SSN, credit card details, or personal address as well, right? So these are all some of the sensitive data which, as a contact center solution, when you are providing a CCaaS solution, you need to ensure that the sensitivity of the data is protected, right? And when it comes to vulnerable systems, CCaaS solution often rely on the cloud-based infra, which can be more vulnerable to the insider threats compared to your traditional systems, right? So some of the types of insider threats in CCaaS are nothing but, like we discussed, it is an intentional misuse that anybody could do within an organization. They may leak the customer data for a personal gain or to cause any disruptions. And another category is nothing but unintentional errors. For example, if an employee may accidentally expose the sensitive data by wrongly sending to an incorrect recipient, or falling over a phishing emails, or mishandling information, or some of the unintentional errors that the users may get into, right? And another category is nothing but the negligence. The employees can neglect the basic security protocols, such as using a weak passwords, or ignoring the security updates, right? So these are some of the insider threats in CCaaS, and how are we going to mitigate these insider threats, right? So the mitigation steps include implementing tools and process to monitor the user activity, restrict the access to systems and data based on the principle of providing the least privileges, ensuring access to what they need to perform, and deploy the data loss prevention tools, the DLP tools, to monitor and control the movement of sensitive data across network. Educate the employees about security risk, best practice, and how to report and identify any suspicious activity, right? And we should also, as an organization, should also be focused on conducting the regular phishing simulations to test the employee awareness and identify the vulnerabilities, right? So these are some of the ways through which you can mitigate the insider threat risk. Now the next category of attack could be through the ransomware attack. It is nothing but a malware that denies user or an organization access to their files in computer by encrypting the files and demanding for ransomware payment, right? So the types of ransomware attacks could be encryptors and lockers. And how do you mitigate the ransomware attack is you need to have a regular backup of your data, ensure that the software updates are done up to date on time, And you should always have an antivirus and anti-malware software for scanning, detecting, and removing any vulnerabilities, and ensure the user training is always up to date. All right. So these are some of the ways through which you can overcome or avoid the ransomware attack. The next one is nothing but the distributed denial of service attack. This is an attempt to crash an online service by synthetically generating huge traffic and causing network resources to slow down or make it unavailable. Right. So this is also quite common in these days. And the types of DDoS attacks could be like volumetric based attack, like pumping the network traffic in bulk such that it slows down the network and makes the resources go completely unavailable, right? And the other type of DDoS could be protocol attack, wherein the hackers they induce the vulnerabilities in the communication protocol that will slow down the entire service. And the another category of DDoS attack is nothing but the application attack, wherein your web applications exploit the weakness, right? So it is vulnerable, it becomes vulnerable, and the hackers can very much easily attack your applications. So these are all some of the ways which are causing a threat in the cybersecurity when it comes to CCaaS. So we are going to see a little bit more detailed into the data breaches and the privacy concerns. So when it comes to data breaches, like one incident, just to call out an example, one incident is nothing but involving for a company called First American Financial Corporation, where over 885 million sensitive documents were exposed, right? So this is really a massive breach that lead to financial liabilities from efforts to mitigate the breach, including it could be legal fees and penalties and fines, and posing severe risk to customer trust and business stability as well, right? So these are all the implications that we normally have to face as an organization if there is an impact to data breach. So the legal repercussions could be the organizations may face significant legal actions and penalties as a result of data breach, emphasizing the need for compliance. Right. Similarly, the importance of data protection. So the data breach affect the IT infrastructure and across the organizations, every aspect from the legal complaints to customer loyalty and operational efficiency point of view. The organization should ensure that they implement a robust security measures such as encryption, regular cybersecurity training, and comprehensive incident response plans to respond back whenever such incident or an event happens. So ensure that you are mitigating the risk appropriately on time and protect the organization's long-term interest is the key goals that we normally have to keep focusing on when it comes to addressing the data breaches and privacy concerns. Okay, now getting into the regulations that impact the CCaaS industry. Like I said in the previous slides, CCaaS is applied across every industry that we have in the globe today. It could be applied to a healthcare industry, it could be applied to your financial industry, it could be to retail or automobile or any industry, right? So there are regulatory compliance which is essential for the CCaaS providers to ensure the data protection and maintain the trust with the clients. So whichever CCaaS solution that we decide to go with, we need to ensure that the particular CCaaS provider is compliant to the regulations that are listed here. For example, the HIPAA compliant regulation is nothing but the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. So this is nothing but a US law that sets standards for protecting the sensitive patient health information, which you call it as PHI. Through this law, we ensure that the privacy and security of the data when stored and transmitted electronically is preserved and secured. So some of the key aspects of HIPAA in the cybersecurity are the protection of PHI. So you focus on protecting the patient health information, including the medical records, personal details from unauthorized access. Similarly, the security rule within the HIPAA Act, it ensures that The electronically protected health information, the electronically protected data is very much secure, and and it can also be protected through the administrative, physical, and technical safeguards. This is nothing but as an organization, by complying to this particular act, it ensures that there are policies and procedures for managing the risk, and by complying to it, it ensures that the data is protected, and it builds the employees' trust as well, right? So the next regulation for the financial industry is mainly the payment card data security standards, which is nothing but PCI DDS. So this is one of the global information security standard which is designed to protect the cardholder data during the payment processing. So essentially, it's a set of rules and guidelines that business must follow to secure their systems and protect the credit card information. So it aims to reduce the payment card fraud and the protect cardholders from the data breaches by setting the security requirements for all the organizations that handle the credit card data. It also covers the entire payment ecosystem from the merchant who accept the card payments to payment processors and the financial institutions. So this way, when we pick for a CCaaS provider that are compliant to the PCI DSS, we get an approval to implement this kind of a solution globally to any financial industry. So the standard focus on protecting the cardholder data is by implementing the access controls, secure network systems, and encrypting the data during the transmission. So while PCI DSS is not a law, it is widely adopted practice, and it is enforced by the credit card brands, and it is a contractual requirement as well for anybody who wants to implement CCaaS in their financial banking sector. Then it is a contractual agreement that anybody have to comply with on the PCI DDS regulation. So the next regulation is nothing but the General Data Protection Regulation, which is nothing but a GDPR. So this is an European Union law that sets how organizations can process the personal data of individuals within the Europe continent. Right. So essentially, GDPR requires the organization to protect the personal data. It implements a robust security measure to safeguard the data from cyber threats and unauthorized access. And it is very transparent to the users such that it communicates clearly with the individuals on how their data is being processed, and what their rights are, right? And it is also ensuring on the accountability to ensure that the data processing activities comply with the GDPR and the principles, that are appropriate measures are taken in case of any breach. And similarly, notifying the individuals and authorities whenever any breach happens. So within the 72 hours of the incident occurs, it is the responsibility as per this regulation, GDPR regulation. The organization should notify the individuals and authorities about the data breach that has happened, and needs to work with the relevant supervisor authority to mitigate the risk, and bring the proper incident plan in place, right? And the next compliant regulation is on the fair debt collection practice. So this is nothing but a federal regulation intended to protect the consumers from abusive practices by the debt collectors, and it ensures that there are rules in place to promote consistency for the debt collector penalties practices. So any violation to this rule will actually cause sending notice to the debt collectors, legal actions, and civil liability as well. So depending on which industry you are going to implement the CCaaS solution, it is the responsibility of the particular organization to ensure that the CCaaS provider is compliant to all of these standards, to ensure that the data is protected and secured as required. So now we will get into the best practices for enhancing the cybersecurity in CCaaS. Okay, how are we going to implement the robust authentication mechanism? So we have seen about various threats that are the cyber threats that are possible in the CCaaS, and we have also seen about the various data breaches and various type of attacks that could happen. Now, how are we going to mitigate the cyber attacks is by implementing the robust authentication mechanism. So the one way of doing it is through the single sign-on mechanism, which is nothing but the SSO. So the SSO, it streamlines the user access by allowing one set of credentials to access multiple applications, enhancing the user experience and security. Say, for example, if I am an agent, I as an agent is going to service a customer. So I may want to connect with multiple applications to fetch the customer data and respond back to the customer, right? So if single sign-on is in place, I don't have to log in into the applications multiple times. Just with single sign-on, I'll be able to access the multiple applications in one go and provide the customer data in a seamless experience way. Similarly, the biometric verification is another robust authentication mechanism that any organization could implement. So the biometric could be through your physical fingerprints or through facial recognition, or when it comes to contact center voice, the voice biometric is also one way of verifying, right? So if a callers are registered, the customers are registered for voice biometric, the agent need not have to authenticate or verify the caller by asking additional security questions. Rather, the customer is automatically getting verified through the voice biometrics if they are enrolled to it, right? So this is one way of handling. Similarly, providing layered security as part of implementation, right? So this is another way of implementing the robust authentication mechanism for your organization. So the layered security is also known as defense in depth. It is a cybersecurity strategy that utilizes multiple security measures at different levels to protect your organization data and systems. So it's basically designed to create a robust defense by ensuring that if one layer of security is compromised, other layers still remain intact and can prevent or mitigate further damage, right? So the layered security, it basically includes, like as the term layer, it means you have multiple layers of security, right? So some of the possible layered security ways are basically it starts with physical security. So physical security is nothing but providing controlled access to the physical infra. It could be servers or the access badges or the security personnel, right? And the next layer is nothing but their network security. By implementing firewalls, intrusion detection systems, and VPNs to protect the network from unauthorized access and attacks is through the network security. Next layer of security is through the endpoint security. So using antivirus software, endpoint detection and response, the EDR tools and the device security policies, you can very well protect the individual devices through the endpoint security mechanism. And next comes the application security. So application security is nothing but implementing security measures to protect your web applications, including it could be through the input values or vulnerability scanning, or you have a proper access control in place, right? And the next level of layer is nothing but the data security. So the data security is nothing but you protect your data, whether the data is in the rest in a database or it is in the transit. Ensure that the data is always encrypted and you have data loss prevention measures that are built and applied in your systems, right? So by various layered security standards that we discussed now, the organization could ensure that the defense mechanism is also in depth. So if one layer is getting compromised, definitely the rest of the layers is going to help protect your data, right? So definitely layered security is one must a recommended authentication mechanism that any organization should really look for. Okay, now when it comes to data encryption and access control, so we know the importance of encryption, right? So the data encryption and access controls are very crucial for securing the data in the cloud. So encryption protects the data both in the transit and rest, making it unreadable for the unauthorized parties. So access control, on the other hand, it's nothing but it limits who can access your data, ensuring only authorized users can see and manipulate it. So what are the various type of encryption that we could think of? One is nothing but the server side encryption, right? So if the encryption is provided by the cloud provider before the data is stored on the servers, that is what you call it as a server side encryption. Client side encryption is another way of doing it, wherein the encryption is performed by the user itself before uploading the data into the cloud, right? And another way of encryption is customer managed encryption keys, wherein the users manage their own encryption keys, providing more control and data security. So some of the benefits that we achieve through these type of encryption mechanisms are nothing but confidentiality, data integrity, and the compliance. So we are ensuring that the data is much secured by implementing the encryption mechanism in place. When it comes to access control, there are multiple ways you could build the access control in the cloud. One of them is nothing but IAM. So we must be very much familiar about it, the identity and access management, right? So organization is responsible for managing the user identity and configure such that only authenticate users have the permission to deal with the data and grant the appropriate permissions, right? So this is what you call it as IAM. And then you have the role-based access control, which is nothing but RBAC. So it assigns permissions based on the roles, making it easier for access to be different for different teams depending on the function that they do, right? So this is what we call it as RBAC. And the next level of access control is nothing but the network-based access control. It restricts the data access based on the network location or the IP address. So these are all some of the ways where you can handle the access control in the cloud. And again, through this method as well, the benefits that you get out of it is nothing but enhanced security, compliance, and data integrity, right? So by implementing both the data encryption and the robust access control, the organization can significantly enhance the security of the data in the cloud, protecting it from the unauthorized access and ensuring the data privacy and integrity. All right, I think I want to quickly give a poll for the audience based on whatever sections we have gone through. I just want to trigger a poll. So you'll see a question and multiple choices as well. So I would recommend if you can take an attempt on this poll. Give me a minute. I'm just posting it. Rosalind, could you help me post the first poll question? Yeah, so the first question is nothing but considering the common threats to CCaaS, where do you believe the most significant risk to customer data originates? So I'll give it a minute for the audience to answer to this question, and then I'll continue with the rest of the sections. All right. Yeah, so you can keep answering to the poll if you have not answered it. So I'll continue with the upcoming slides. Yeah, so now regular security audits and vulnerability assessment, right? So this is one way of one of the best practices that we need to ensure as an organization. How do we protect the data, right? So it is through the regular security audits. So conduct regular security audits to identify and address any potential vulnerabilities in the CCaaS infra. Ensure the user activity is continuously monitored by it could be by analyzing the user behavior, by checking when the particular user is logging in, if there are frequent access to any data. All such monitoring tools and processes in place will help identifying the user activities very closely. Logging and auditing, enable logging and auditing in all the devices and systems to capture the security events, and it facilitates the incident response as well. right? And when it comes to compliance and regulation, always identify the relevant data privacy regulation that is applicable for the particular industry. Like it could be HIPAA for a healthcare industry, GDPR for any financial institution or a sector that is dealing with the customer sensitive data, be it global market or in the Europe region. So you have to be compliant with the GDPR. And likewise, we also saw about other regulations that are pertaining to each industry, right? And you should also have an incident response procedure in place wherein you develop and implement a comprehensive incident response plan to address the security breaches efficiently and proactively on time. So employee education and training is also another key measure that every organization should always adhere to, and ensure the security awareness training is given to all the employees at regular intervals of time. So definitely through the audits and having the monitoring tools and processes in place, definitely the organization should be able to protect the data from cyber attacks. Okay, now getting into the advanced security measures and technologies. So we all know about AI and ML. I mean, the current industry, the technology is booming towards the artificial intelligence and machine learning. So basically, AI is reshaping the cybersecurity in CCaaS. It enhances the threat detection, automating the fraud prevention, and it also safeguards the sensitive customer data, right? So how can AI and ML help in the threat detection? Is what we are going to see here in a high level. So when it comes to threat detection, the real-time threat detection and how in real time do you respond to it plays a vital role. So the AI systems basically it helps in analyzing the large volume of call center data in real time, identifying any potential anomalies and threats in a very faster and more accurate way than the traditional rule-based systems, right? So that way AI is always fast enough in identifying any potential risk in a quick turnaround time. So these systems actually continuously learn and adapt, enabling them to detect even novel or subtle threats that can bypass any conventional defenses, right? So the more you practice the model with your organization data, the AI or the LLM will have the potential capability to analyze and identify the anomalies in real time, and it helps in identifying any potential threats in a very quick turnaround way. So another area where you can apply AI and machine learning is nothing but for the fraud detection and prevention. So the AI powered fraud detection systems that are available in the market today, it really helps in monitoring the interactions for any suspicious patterns, such as unusual voice characteristics or any data transmission anomalies or any behavioral deviations or any such fraudulent activities can be identified by having implementing the AI powered fraud detection systems in place. Like for example, the voice authentication and voice biometric analysis, it really helps. It is based on the AI technology, only the voice biometric authentication happens. So it really strengthens your security by preventing impersonation attacks, right? So you cannot clone anybody's voice. So that way the AI will have the intelligence to detect any impersonation anomalies as well. So automated security operations, right? So this is one area where a lot of manual effort is involved in some places, which can be automated through AI. So AI automates the routine cybersecurity tasks, like for example, it could be network monitoring or vulnerability scanning and incident response as well, right? So reducing the workload for humans, it allows faster mitigation to threats. So you can have an automatic job that can be configured and run on daily basis or in a regular hourly intervals to do the vulnerability scanning. That way, you can continuously monitor your network systems and ensure it is protected and secured from the threats, right? And automated scoring and summarization of calls. This is specific to CCaaS. So this is one area. For example, if I as a caller, I connect and talk to an agent, So the customer interactions and the agent interactions, it is automatically summarized by the system towards the end of the call, right? So there is a lot of manual effort that agent normally does for summarizing the interactions, which is now automated through an AI capability. So the AI has the capability to automatically do the call summarization, and that way it helps in reducing the handle time as well. And any potential risk and any security compliance mechanisms are also applied in place through the automated scoring. The AI algorithms also encrypt the sensitive data. It monitor access and enforces strict authentication controls, ensuring customer information is accessible only to the authorized personnel. So this is one way of handling the automated security operations. Another place where you could think of AI and machine learning for threat detection is nothing but enhance the user behavior analytics. By tracking the user and agent behavior, AI can detect the insider threats or compromised accounts through the deviations from normal activity, providing an additional layer of security, right? So while AI offers significant cybersecurity advantages, like we also know that it is also introducing new risk as well, such as any adverse attacks targeting the AI models itself. So over reliance on the automation and potential lack of transparency in the decision making, right? So we should always ensure that whatever results that AI is giving through this, it is also thoroughly reviewed and ensure that the data is accurate, right? So while we are heading towards more of automation, it is also equally essential that a balanced approach combining the AI driven automation with the human oversight and regular audits is really essential for effective and resilient cybersecurity in CCaaS, right? So that's how we can deal with the AI and machine learning for the threat detection. Okay, now I want to generate another poll question. The next poll. Yeah, here you go. So the question is, based on the best practices discussed, which area should organization prioritize most when strengthening their CCaaS cybersecurity posture? So I'll give it a minute for the audience to respond to this question. The options you have are implementing strong authentication and access control, encrypting all sensitive customer data, conducting regular security audits and vulnerable assessments, ensuring continuous employee security training, strictly adhering to regulatory compliance requirements. So I'll give it a minute for the audience to respond to this question. Broski, could you check if this question is posted? Okay, I see. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Keep continuing to answer to the poll if you have not answered. So the next topic that we are going to see on how AI can be used for the behavioral analysis and anomaly detection is nothing but any AI. It can normally it acts through the data that you provide, right? So the CCaaS platform gather the data on the user interaction, system activity, network traffic, and all the data is collected and stored and fed into the AI model. The machine learning algorithms analyze the historical data to create a baseline for normal behavior for users, entities, and the system itself, and it builds a model out of it. And then the system continuously monitors for deviations for the established baseline, right? So if there is any deviation from the baseline, that's where the AI system will trigger and it detect the anomalies as well. So that way, when anomalies are detected, the alerts are triggered and the security teams can investigate and respond to the potential threats. So these are all, this is how a typical AI model works for behavioral analysis and anomaly detection. and through the data collection mechanism, basically. All right. So integrating multi-factor authentication is also one way of dealing with the cyber threats. So you can provide an enhanced security through the multi-factor authentication. It requires users to provide multiple form of authentication. It could be through one-time password, or it could be through answering to the secret security questions. It could be through any ways. So identifying the verification, the users must verify their identity through different methods such as passwords, biometrics, and one-time codes. And by reducing the unauthorized access by implementing multi-factor authentication, you can significantly reduce the risk of unauthorized access to sensitive information. So the lessons learned from past incidents. So while we are dealing with cyber security, it is very essential that we document and learn from the past incidents, because how much ever security measures that any organization takes, there are chances that any cyber security incident could happen. So it is always important to analyze the incidents from the past, and understand how can the corrective measures be taken to ensure the common mistakes are not getting repeated again in the future. So avoiding similar pitfalls, learn from the failures, offering crucial insights and from the similar incidents in the past, and ensure that in future it is not happening again. And always focus on strengthening your security frameworks, such that you are always able to reduce the risk and improve resilience. Okay, now getting into future trends in CCaaS cybersecurity. So we have seen about how AI plays a vital role. Now, what the future trends in CCaaS cybersecurity is all about, right? So some of the future trends that we have are blockchain technology, quantum computing. These are some of the emerging technologies that we have, right? So blockchain technology, what is this? So this is a technology which is basically a kind of advanced database mechanism that allows transparent information sharing within a business network. So how blockchain technology it helps in enhancing cybersecurity is nothing but the privacy in the digital world is improved by blockchain through encryption and decentralization. So this ensures data encryption storage can only be decrypted by the owner, right? So anybody, even a hacker, cannot decrypt the data, decrypt the encrypted data, right? So this ensures the data encryption storage can only be encrypted through the owner, and even for hackers, the encrypted data cannot be hacked at all, right? So that way you have a strong decryption encryption mechanism in place. But some of the limitations we have with the blockchain in cybersecurity is nothing but the complexity, right? So blockchain technology can be very complex in nature, and it is very challenging to implement as well. Some blockchain networks may have scalability issues, particularly for high volume transactions, and implementing a blockchain solution could also be expensive as well, right? And when it comes to regulations, the regulatory landscape for blockchain is still getting evolved, and there are concerns about legal and ethical implications as well of its use, right? So though the blockchain technology is one of the emerging technology to handle the cybersecurity, it is still evolving, and we need to wait for some more time to understand how the regulations and the scalability complexity issues are getting addressed as the solution gets matured, right? And the next emerging technology is nothing but quantum computing. Quantum computing is nothing but a field that uses the principle of quantum mechanics to perform computations, offering the potential to solve certain problems very faster than the classical way of dealing with it, right? So quantum computing actually it presents both the risk and opportunities for the cybersecurity. It could break the current encryption methods, but it also offers the new tools for stronger security protocol, right? And that way it ensures the faster threat detection, and it provides a secure communication as well, right? So So with the real-time data processing, the quantum computers, it excels in analyzing the massive data sets very rapidly. So the AI-powered cybersecurity solutions are improving, and while quantum enhanced machine learning is still in the early stages, the researchers are exploring quantum computing potential to accelerate the AI algorithm, right? So that way, quantum computing, it offers immense potential, but it also introduces significant cybersecurity risk, like we saw in the blockchain technology. There are chances that the current cryptographic defenses may become obsolete, exposing sensitive data, information, and critical infrastructure to unprecedented threats. So we should be very mindful and careful while implementing the emerging technologies until it gets fully matured. So predictions for future cyber threats, sophistication of cyber threats. So as the technology is maturing, the cyber threats are also evolving, and it becomes more sophisticated and harder to detect, and it poses a significant risk as well. So the increased ransomware attacks is one of the predictions that indicate high risk for ransomware attacks targeting organizations to extort money and disrupt operations, right? So this is continuously getting increased, and new phishing techniques as well, it is continuously getting generated by the hackers as the technology is also getting modernized and improved, right? So the risk and the technology both are competing with each other, and we should always ensure that we have a strong security mechanism in place to ensure the data is safe and protected in the CCaaS platform, right? Um, so strategies for staying ahead on the security challenges is nothing but proactive strategies. Adopt the proactive strategies to address and mitigate the evolving cybersecurity threats very effectively. Continuous education and training is very essential to keep the employees up to date on the latest cybersecurity practices and threats. And always invest in technology. You cannot be backdated as the technology is improving and every industry is focusing on modernization. So it's always good to invest in advanced technology, and it is crucial for organizations to enhance their cybersecurity defense as well as they get into the modernization journey. All right. So with this, I would conclude this webinar. So whatever we have seen in this session is all about the importance of cybersecurity in CCaaS, how it is critical for safeguarding the sensitive business and customer data in the cloud environments. How are we understanding the challenges? So the business must recognize the unique challenges that are associated with the cloud-based solution and implement effective security strategies. How do we adopt the best practices by implementing cybersecurity is essential for mitigating your risk and ensuring secure operations in the cloud, and not the least is the staying informed, right? So the organization must stay updated on the future trends in cybersecurity to adapt and enhance their protection strategies continuously. So with this, I conclude the session, and I can take a quick couple of minutes. We are running short of time. I can quickly look through any questions for Q&A if at all anything is there. So feel free to post your questions you have from this session. I'll be happy to answer those, and you can very well contact me in the LinkedIn as well to discuss more about how the cybersecurity practices can be implemented in the CCaaS.
Well, hi, Alarm. Unfortunately, we are at time, and I hate to say it, but we are coming to the bottom of the hour. So if there's anything you'd like to say quickly before we have to, sadly end this webinar, please feel free to submit it. If not, please feel free to reach out to Alarm via LinkedIn to continue the conversation and with any follow-up questions. With that, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for, sharing all of this amazing content with the greater WESIS community. And we greatly appreciate your time today, Alarm. I hope everyone has a phenomenal rest of their day. And thank you for joining us for this incredible webinar with Ford Motor Company.
Sure. Thank you.